Hey guys, Chaz here. Today's video is sponsored by Competitive Cyclists. You can go to their website and pick up all kinds of cool things. Everything I'm featuring in today's video can be found there. And you can use Chaz15 for 15% off on your first purchase. Some exclusions do apply. But today what I really want to talk about is I want to look at power meters. Now, I know everyone is usually, most bikes actually come with power meters now. And one of the power meters I really want to talk about today is going to be Quarq. All right, Quarq is an amazing power meter, and recently they actually slashed their prices quite a bit. They used to be around 800 bucks. I remember when I first got in the game with a Quarq power meter, they were actually more expensive than that. They were like $1,300. And then as power meters started coming out, they started getting more competitive on their pricing, and eventually they dropped it down to 800 bucks. And now I believe they're like around $400, like $399 for a power meter. Anyways, I've been using Quarq power meter pretty much my entire cycling history. I had a Quarq Spider for my specialized crank, and then more recently with the new frame coming out and bottom bracket starting to change, Specialized is no longer making their OSB 30 bottom bracket. It's now a threaded bottom bracket. So if I ever wanted to jump to a bike down the road that was a different than what I have now, which is the SL6, I need a new bottom bracket. So with that, I went ahead and looked into getting a new power meter. Plus, my other one, it was pretty old, and the crank arms, the Specialized crank arms, were starting to wear out. So I went and I got a new one. And what I really liked, again, was the Quarq. The Quarq was super affordable. It was super cheap. It was $399 for that. And then on top of that, I needed some crank arms to go with it. And they have the new Quarq Dub, which is basically SRAM red crank arms, are extremely cheap too. They're around, I don't know, 180 bucks for crank arms, which is outrageously cheap considering I paid around 250 bucks for my Specialized ones. So, Quarq power meter, that's where it's at. Let's dive into some things that I like about the power meter itself. Let's talk about installation of the power meter. Super easy. I did it myself. I didn't go to a bike shop. I do go to bike shops when I need things done that I don't know how to do, but I'm gonna be honest, for like 95% of the stuff I do on my bike, I do it myself because one, I like to save money, and two, I enjoy working on my bike. So installing it was super easy. Literally, you don't need any special tools. All you need is like Allen wrenches, and that's it. Allen wrenches. I was able to put a new bottom bracket, bottom bracket onto my SL6. I just pressed in the dub cups onto the OSB 30, got an adapter for that, and just pressed them in, ceramic bearings. And then on top of that, all I had to do was take the crank arm and literally the Spider, throw them on together, and there's like 8 Allen wrench bolts on the back that you just tighten down. Super easy. Throw the chain rings on there, super easy, and then through the crank through the dub, and it's so stinking easy as well. Anyways, I had it up and running in about an hour. Now, one thing I like about the Quarq is it's self-calibrating. So most of the time when you go out for a ride, you have to calibrate before every ride. I still do it before every ride, but then while you actually ride, it's an option in the app. While you're actually riding, you can have it automatically calibrate for you, which is actually really nice. Sometimes, you'll be riding, you realize things are off, so then you'd want to recalibrate. Well, anytime you just stop pedaling or you backpedal 4 times during your ride, the thing automatically calibrates. So say you hit a descent and you start to go down a descent and you stop pedaling, it's gonna recalibrate without you even thinking about it. Super cool, always accurate power because it's always being calibrated. One thing I love about the Quarq. The other thing I love about it is the battery compartment on it is super easy. It's literally, you just unscrew it. My buddy Nick had another power meter that had these two screws on the backside that required an Allen key, and man, it was a pain to get those off. I've had stages before. Sometimes the stages can be finicky too. This one's super, just doop, doop, unscrew, new CR 2032 in there, screw it back on, and boom, you're ready to go. Now, the Quarq does come with an app that gives you all the statuses about it. Super easy, cool app you can download, and then on top of that too, it also shows you if there's any firmware updates you need to do, or what the battery life actually is of your power meter. And something else you can do is you can actually calibrate from the app itself. I didn't get to do that on my old one. Now it's all Bluetooth compatible. Speaking of that, the Quarq is Bluetooth compatible. So it's Anti Plus and Bluetooth compatible. meaning if you're Zwifting or using maybe your phone or something for Strava, it will connect to any of those devices super easy via Anti+ or Bluetooth. And let's be honest, everyone uses Bluetooth nowadays, except for cycling computers, it's still Anti+. So it works there fantastically. Now, as far as what it looked like when it came to power readings, I had an older meter that I used, which was a specialized Quarq, and this one is the D0 Quarq. What I did there was basically the numbers lined up pretty much the same. All of my power is the same. The only thing I noticed a little bit of a difference on is the max peak power. I could hit 12 to 1250 on my older power meter. The newer one, I'm maxed out around 1150 to 12. So there's like a 50 watt difference, but it's only on the peak power, so who cares? Now, is a power meter worth it? I honestly think so. I've been using one for, I don't know, at least 7 years now. And with the power meter, it really has allowed me to get into structured training. So because of that, every year or every time I even go out and ride, I have a purpose. And every year I can look back and reflect on my entire year and see where I made gains and see where I lost power. So then you can kind of go back and look at your overall program. You can think about where do you need to fine tune things in order to keep that metric where it was, in order not to lose it, and where can you tweak things to take that a little bit higher. So over the years, I've been able to track how well my sprint has developed, which honestly, that has been the biggest game changer in my overall cycling, is my sprint ability. Something else I can track is my threshold, my 5-minute power, all kinds of different metrics, my VO2. Power meter is completely worth it. Anytime I start working with a new athlete, I always ask them, do you have a power meter? And probably like 98% of them say yes. The ones that say no, I tell them, before you get a coach, before you hire me, the best thing you can probably do is to go and invest in a power meter. It's going to be a game changer for anything you do. For those who ride Zwift with a trainer who has power, I mean, you understand already. Now, when you go outdoors and you don't have that power, you're going to be completely lost. So investing in a power meter is super important. And again, the Quarq is a super affordable option and it works. They have a really good track record of just working well and really not having a whole lot of issues. I had one issue one time and their customer service took care of it like that, warranted it, no problem. All right, it was just, I can't even remember what happened to it. It was just not calibrating, just a little bit off, and I hit them up, sent me a brand new one, no problem. Outside of that, I've had no issues in the 7 years, so one time. So, that's one thing I liked about power meters. And do they help? Do they work? Yes. So I would say one of the biggest things you can invest in besides your bike or maybe a nice trainer is going to be a power meter. I would recommend getting a power meter before you even got a coach. That way you can really start to lay a good foundation of training with structure and understanding where your zones are and understanding what your capabilities are. Again, this video is sponsored by Competitive Cyclist, and you can use Chaz 15 to get 15% off any of anything that's on their site. Some exclusions do apply. Outside of that, if you use a power meter, please let me know what is your favorite brand. If you don't use a power meter, I highly suggest getting one. As always, oh, hey bud, keep riding and training hard, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Go on.